Hey folks, welcome to Hayden Me Grilling. On this episode, we're gonna make brisket in the crock pot. So, let's get started. All right folks, so what we got here, we got this beautiful little 2-pound brisket. Now I picked this up back last summer at the farmer's market before I had a smoker. And I was wondering how in the world I was gonna cook this thing. Well, I got the smoker, then I come to find out I was worried with only 2 pounds that it would be hard to get a bark on it, right? So, and then I remembered, hey, a buddy of mine sent me a recipe for a brisket in a crock pot. So, we're gonna put this in the crock pot, but before we do that, we're gonna prep the meat. Now, the recipe my buddy sent me had quite the concoction of spices to sprinkle over it for, or mix together for the dry rub. But, folks, I'm going with good old Gladys's barbecue. I'm telling you, their seasoning it's incredible. So we're just gonna season this thing up pretty thoroughly, flip it over and do the other side. And now that we have our brisket seasoned up, I'm going to set it down in my crock pot. Now, of course, I've got my liner in it. We're gonna put this in the crock pot, we're gonna put the lid on it, and we're gonna let this seasoning sit on the meat overnight. All right, so now that we have our brisket sitting in the fridge, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and mix the sauce together tonight and put it in the fridge. So that's one less thing we gotta do in the morning. So first thing we're gonna add is 1/2 cup of chili sauce, 1/2 cup of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1½ teaspoons of liquid smoke, followed by 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seed. Now that we have these ingredients in here together, we're just gonna stir this all in together. And I'm starting to see why they went with the liquid smoke, because you can definitely smell that smoky flavor to it. So I think that will help us kind of get that smoked flavor maybe as we're putting it in the crock pot. So we're just gonna mix this in together, and then I'm gonna put it in the fridge and let it sit overnight. So in the morning, that's one last thing we gotta do. I took me a little sample of that sauce we mixed in together, and folks, I tell you what, it tastes really dang good. So I'm really even more excited now about this brisket potential in the crock pot. So we will see y'all in the morning when we get this thing fired up. All right, folks, welcome back this morning. We've let our brisket sit overnight in the crock pot. We've let our little sauce sit. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to pour about 1/2 of that sauce in on the brisket. Just about like that. Now, I'm not gonna spread this, right? I'm just gonna let this cook just the way it is. All right, then we're gonna set this to a low 8-hour cook. And I've said it before, but what I really love about this crock pot is once that 8 hours finishes, it will automatically kick down to warm, which is great because we work 10-hour days, right? So I don't have to worry about this thing continuing to cook for an extra 2 hours. But we're gonna let this cook, and I will be back this afternoon. Folks, so I'm extra thankful that this crock pot kicks down to warm because we ended up working late tonight, so a little later getting home. But let's do the unveil on how this brisket looks in the crock pot.
It has smelled fantastic all day.
Brandy said it has smelled fantastic all day. Look at there. All right, folks, so we were just able to get it out of the crock pot. I was worried it's gonna fall apart just because that's, you know, what meats generally do when they've been in the crock pot for a while. But we're gonna go ahead and slice into this. And it's trying to slice, but it's trying to fall apart all at the same time. I mean, it looks pretty. It doesn't, of course, because it was in a crock pot, right? Doesn't have that smoke ring like it did a couple weeks ago coming off the smoker. But I believe this is gonna eat. All right, folks, so this is our crock pot brisket. I'm excited to try it. All right, here we go with it. Folks, that's really doggone good. A lot better, not gonna lie. A lot better than I anticipated, being a crock pot and it being brisket. Definitely a different texture from putting it on the smoker, but the flavor's still there, especially with that Gladys's barbecue seasoning. Folks, that stuff's so good. And then I took that second bite to taste that sauce that we mixed and poured over the top, and that's really doggone good as well. So y'all please let me know what you think of the video. Heck, maybe try some brisket in a crock pot. Y'all please like, subscribe, and we'll see y'all later.